Hello, this is Victor at restoreyourmercedes.com. This video is for Gus in North Carolina, and here we have Mercedes SL500 95 model ASR throttle body, and it's repaired. Wires were very bad. They were all shorted out, Gus, so you have to see, once you plug it in, see if your control module, which is like this. This is just another module that I have, but yours starts with 129 because yours is 129 chassis. This is from an S-Class, but that's an e-gas module. You will have an e-gas. This is the module that burns out, so I'm having this module tested for this very reason, just to see if this module is good or bad. This turned out to be good, so that's for somebody else. Now, in our case here, the throttle is working fine now. All the shorts obviously corrected, all the new wires installed, and the plug was cut as I showed you on the video. So let me just show you the plug that I have here for you, which is just fine. I had to mold it just so it fits in the socket. Okay, so everything is good here. Or while I'm at the box here, so this is what was mailed to me, just so you know. There's some sort of clamp with that I don't believe is from Mercedes. It's just like some sort of plumbing kind of thing. You have bolts. These are the bolts that hold throttle body to the intake manifold. Obviously you have your mass airflow sensor, which is nice. It's very clean, you can tell. I don't have a means to test it right at the moment. I don't have V8 in right now. I usually have V8s, but because it's winter I don't take cars in, so I don't have V8 to test. I have V12s. But as you can see, the inner wire in there is a very thin wire inside this chimney, and it is nice and shiny, so that makes me think that everything is fine. So you see the wire is there. It's not broken. There is no melting at junction points, like these are the points where the wire is attached to sensory. And yeah, so I would say this one is nice. Besides, this unit, as you can see, it was produced in '93, but that's the case. The internals are replaced by Bosch in Germany, because this is a Mercedes replacement unit. It's exchanged, they don't come new. So I would say the unit is fine. So I'm gonna just clean it all up. I mean, actually not to clean it up, but I just put it in the envelope or something and whatnot. And we got some chalk, which is cool. Yay. I don't know, the chalk, well, it's just whatever was in the box, so I'll mail it the same way. Okay, let's go back to our unit here. Unit has been energized on the bench for quite a long time. I can show you temperatures here. As you can see, it's hitting about 96, mid-90s. For comparison, the cold unit here, as you can see, is around 60. This is what the room temperature is. It's winter time, so obviously it's cold. So we hit in like 90, mid-90s, upper 90s, I would say. So that's just to say that unit has been on the bench for quite a long time. Next, this is how unit cleaned off. It cleaned off very nicely, okay? Given the fact that it had some oxidation, but still it cleaned off quite okay. You can still see some oxidation here. Now the linkage was tight, so I got it done so it is not tight. I mean, there is a little bit of a bearing there that it's a little bit on the tighter side, the bearing itself, but it will be just fine, because if you push on it you feel a little bit of resistance, but it, like I said, it doesn't really matter. That's just the bearing, but it works nice and easy when it's off the load. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll grind it down just a little more just to get rid of this. You see, like right now, it's not critical. Don't worry about it, because it's like whatever. See, it's nice and fluid. Okay. Now we see a little bit of oxidation on the internals here, but that's okay. It's probably because it's a coastal car. Like I said, it was close to the coast. A little bit. But again, not critical at all. This is the tube I told you about. I leave this clamp on. You need to replace the tube. You have to face the clamp ends downwards like this, that's gonna work, because over here there's an intake, one of the intake tubes. So if you're not gonna have the clamp in this position, then the intake is not gonna clear. You have to put the hose on first, the new hose. It's gonna be soft, so you can like compress it and feed the throttle body in with hose already attached. Okay, so the clamp has to be in this position. I'll leave it in this position because the hose was probably broken a long time ago, because the tube itself was spotless. Usually you got oil on it, and yours had nothing. So I would say that it was probably dead, like the hose was broken, so you had no how do you call it, you have no PCV system, didn't work. It was just like blown into the atmosphere, like I told you on the phone. Next is, well, let's look at the readings. I have my other computer here, I'm testing here the multiplexer and everything. So the readouts, 4.25, that's the average readings that you get with this particular unit and the particular e-gas module that I have. Also on your car, when you plug it in, it might not open all the way. Most likely it will open only this much, because my control module here is different firmware, so it allows me to open it all the way. So that's why I chose it, so I can show people and customers that it actually opens all the way. When you drive your car, it will open all the way, don't worry. You will never see it, but you will. 0.44, that's also medium value. From 0.4 to 0.6, this is where it's supposed to be. That's idle position. So obviously when we open throttle, our readouts change, and also micro switches change. So yes, there is a little bit of a delay in the reading, but you get the idea. So we have 3.38, 2.6, see wide open throttle. You see the voltages will also change. 0.62, 4.36. They're not supposed to be mirror of idle values, but that's okay. That's just the way they are. So when we're at idle, you got on off for micro switches. Off idle, micro switches change from on off to off on. That's fine too. So the micro switch is in there. And the voltages, of course, follow. So unit has been energized for 2 days, almost 2 days. Never shut off. Everything is fine. And overall, it's actually a pretty clean unit. Internals are pretty nice. Makes me think that it's not really a high mileage unit. It was never overheated. There is no rust inside, so that's also a good thing. Some oxidation on the case. Well, of course, after 20-something years of operation and being in harsh environment, you will also, you can, come on, it's gonna have some oxidation. So anyway, this is basically where we are. Just making you this video, and then tomorrow I will mail it out. I'm gonna actually do a little bit of tweaking here on this case, because the bearing for the linkage is a little tight. Again, this is not critical, but I don't want to grease it. If I'm gonna grease it, there's a possibility of grease falling down, and then it's gonna contaminate potentiometer. We don't want that. So we'd rather have a dry bearing, because there is really no force on the bearing, so it's not really a big problem. But I have my way of making this one very, very light. So that's not a problem. Okay, so basically, yes, this is it. It's a long video, but it is what it is. Just wanted to show you before I mail it to you. Again, new hose, new gasket, of course. This is all cleaned off, perfect. Just put the gasket on, install the unit, and this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be buzzing. When you put on the ignition, lever at idle, supposed to hear it buzzing. It's making these kind of mechanical noises. It's a perfectly fine noise. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, I have a little bit of a clear tape over the sticker just to preserve numbers, because when I wash these units, numbers can be washed off, so I just put a little bit of clear tape over it to preserve it. As you can see, your unit is a 94 built unit, obviously affected one with bad cables being inside the unit. Okay, so this is it. This is all for me. This is Victor at restoreyourmercedes.com. Thank you for watching.